Hey, welcome back to the Psychic Soul Healer channel. My name is Laura, and I'm going to do a general message for Scorpio. Heading up, before we know it, we're going to be in Scorpio season. Feel like the time is flying. Now, there is no time or space within the spiritual realm, and guess what? Energy is fluid. So you may have to flip it, switch it, twist it, interpret the message as it best resonates with you, because you may find that part of the message resonates with you and the other part resonates with the person that you're tapped into. The message goes to who needs to hear the message. That's why the message is channeled out that way a lot of times. Now, if you're new to the channel, know that this is a shadow healing channel. So we look at the inner child wounds, we look at the shadows, we look to see how to integrate and heal the situation that you're in. Now, it will tell you what your person's going to do, but we don't like to predict the future here because there's many different realities that play out at one time. And you can actually choose the reality to get the best outcome for your situation. Now, does that mean that you'll be able to get the person that you want? No. What that means, however, is that you're not there after the relationship with a big old wound. You're not afraid then to date other people. That energy of the bad relationship and feeling that someone got over on you or you feel victimized, betrayed, all the negative energy that goes with toxic, connections. Well, you avoid that because you're able to see, and you're able to see through what the person is doing, how they're behaving, right? Because it's through our behaviorisms that give us away, meaning our behaviorisms come from our thoughts and our emotions. So someone that has a lot of trauma and psychological trauma is, created from relationships, whether it's we were born into a family that had a lot of karma, and the karma where, let's just say, a parent was sick all the time, or you struggled, saw your family struggle with money. There was a karmic theme, and that karmic theme kept your family in a place of fear, limitation, disempowerment. This is what I'm talking about. See, we have a spirit part of self, and the spirit part of self is a God part of self. And that is the supernatural part of ourselves. And that energy is really what it is. It's energy. It's the same energy as the universe. And as I just said, it's the same energy that's inside of you, is the energy of Source, God. And so we have the supernatural power. However, our mind is what determines how we manifest, meaning with the thoughts that we think. So wounds that we don't heal, that become subconscious blocks, come out within sabotaging behaviorisms where we tend to get in our own way, or we date people or get involved in situations that are not in our best interest. They're not going to grow us in any way. This is what is called a karmic relationship. And maybe again, there's a lot of lust, there's a lot of passion, there's a strong connection, but again, the way that the person is treating you. This would again be called a karmic mate, and people that endure these type of relationships wind up in trauma bonds. Now, I don't know why I channeled this, but maybe today we're going to see what is going on with you and your person. Maybe your person is stuck with someone that they're trauma bonded to, or maybe you're connected to someone that you have a trauma bond with. And either way, even if you are not with the person that you're trauma bonded to, maybe again, you're not trauma bonded to anyone, but your person is, it would still affect your energy because you're tapped into someone that is. Again, and when we tap into someone, it means that we are focusing a lot on them. We have a lot of emotional energy, and this is what creates a psychic cord. So a lot of times if we're in a toxic relationship, you can see how a psychic cord would be very draining. Well, you could also create a positive psychic cord where you're continually giving love. And that usually happens with family and ancestors that have crossed over. When you tap into your family, you can actually feel their energy and you feel a love if they were happy in this life. A lot of times, if a person is not happy in this life, they don't automatically go up to source and become happy. It's karmic. Everything's about learning. And we get to evolve through a constant state of interacting in life and the people that come into our life. All right, now without further ado, if you want to enter into winning a free reading with me, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and write the word of the day. The word of the day always comes from the Psychic Flow Healer deck. And this is a shadow healing deck made for helping you heal the shadow aspect of yourself. So there is practices for meditation and reflection. It teaches you how to do psychic readings and obviously how to heal. So there's a lot of different exercises in the book, I think over 100, and there's a lot of different oracle spreads, everything to clearing your karmic ancestral programs to opening up your heart chakra. All right. Again, you can find the link in the description box along with all other important links. My shadow healing coaching program is something I also want to just mention because $7.99 a month, and what you get is you get inner child healing, you get shadow healing, you get reparenting, and then you get a practice of meditation, breath work, EFT, NLP, and a lot of different healing modalities, because when we go through a traumatic experience, we also condition our body. So if you're someone that struggles with anxiety, depression, just any emotional imbalances, this is a really affordable way to show up for yourself, to help you recondition. Because remember, it's how we act on a daily basis that creates a habit. So if you are imbalanced, you've created habits and behaviorisms that are supportive to that imbalance. And healing is not just about healing the mind. We actually have to embody the spiritual lesson, and that is how you change your energy. Otherwise, you just kind of half heal. And the reason why is because the spirit needs to actually feel it, needs to see it. We need to see it. Trauma is created because we actually lived it and saw it. So healing means you have to go back into the fire. And without tools, you can't really go back into the fire. We suffer too much anxiety and depression and other spiritual imbalances. So again, check out those subscriptions, and you can do so by finding the link to Patreon, again, in the description box. All right. Now, let's see, what's the word of the day? Because the word of the day is going to actually determine how this reading goes. Self-obsession. Self-obsession. So you're going to write the word self-obsession in your comment bar. And you'll know if I chose you, if I wrote the word winner underneath. If I did, you and I will just correspond right then and there on, maybe not right then and there, but we'll correspond on that page. And the day that we decide, I will also post your live stream link. All readings are done live. So if you don't want to get a reading live, then essentially you won't be able to participate. And the reason why is because I believe in spiritual law, what's best for everyone. It's not just what's best for me or what's best for you that you want a free reading, but energy is, again, fluid. It's going to go to who needs to hear the message. And these are shadow healing messages. So to help people take a deep dive into themselves, to actually heal the effects of their trauma so that they can create And that's, again, whoever lands on it. All right. So self-obsession, I feel like you're dealing with someone that has a really big ego. They think everything is about themselves. Everything is about themselves. Now, you may say they act very cocky, but I feel like they're so insecure. And so when a person is really obsessed about themselves, it's because they have distorted perceptions about themselves based on the experiences that they lived. Unfortunately, though, this person hasn't done any healing, and that's what happens. When a person doesn't do any healing, their mind will concoct a story, and that story allows them to wear a mask, and they live behind that mask. I just feel that they're in a process of where they can no longer do that. They're still trying to do that. So I do feel like you're in separation with this person, but that's the energy there, which is very frustrating to you. And understand that would be frustrating to anybody dealing with that energy, but it's literally triggering you, because it's almost like I can feel that there's a connection. I know that there's a connection, but you deliberately go out of your way. And so when a person deliberately goes out of their way to make you feel bad, but they have feelings, it obviously says everything about that person and not really anything about you. You're their trigger, but you're their trigger because they don't believe that they're lovable. They don't believe that they're, can have love. This is why they're so obsessed with themselves, right? They would need to have everything look good. Maybe that's from like the way that they dress to the way that their hair is done, to doing everything perfect. So they're also very controlling. And so, but there is feelings there. It's not that there isn't, but I don't believe that this person allowed you to get that close to them. Now, you're projecting your own fears and limitations onto me. Go within and understand that you are seeing yourself, not me. And this is really, again, what I'm saying. Like, this person has love for you. They don't have love for themselves. Now, even though they didn't really take the time to really take a deep dive into getting to know you, their perception of you, and I say that only because they don't have good relationships, and they don't have good relationships because they don't allow people to get close to them, because they perceive that everyone views them the way that they view them. Now, I know that they might not come across this way, but this is not that. Now, we want to look at these. You might say, well, why do I want to know this? Because this is going to allow us to know why the other cards come out, like, why their behaviorisms and why they do what they do. It's going to tell us, the next set of cards are going to tell us what your person is doing about it. And so when a person has feelings, but then they're contradicting themselves, we want to know why their wounds are, because they're in sabotaging behavior. They don't realize that you're triggering them because they have feelings, and because they have feelings and they also feel unworthy of the love, then it's even more triggering, because they're holding a cognitive dissonance, which is, I want it, but I don't want it. And so when a person holds that, they can't create anything positive. They're actually going to push away what they want. They're going to get in their own way. Being mirrors for each other makes self-love so important. I wish I was there to love you, but if I'm not, I want you to love and nurture yourself. So this person knows. It's, again, like, I'm not good for you right now. I am not healed right now. So let's see why they're doing what they're doing. But doesn't that make you feel better, Scorpio, to be like, okay, there's a person that's connected to me that does have feelings towards me, but they're so obsessed about every little thing that they do. And understand that's how you know a person has a spiritual block. They have a spiritual block because they're only focused on what's wrong. Everybody has things that are perceived wrong about themselves. Everybody has things that they don't like about themselves, is what I'm saying. But we're not supposed to focus on those things. We can work on those things to get better, but it's like your person is fixated on those things, which is keeping them like paralyzed. So they're not doing anything. But when you look at them, they have a mask on and they act really confident. And so we would see this as triggering. And I feel like your person knows that this is triggering. It's part of how they emotionally manipulate people into giving them what they want, because there is a part of them that wants this relationship. And that's why they're not giving you anything at all. But it's they're hoping that you're going to give it to them. But we know that this would be, like, again, not a good idea. So let's see how they feel or what they're going to do, or we never know with this card what they're going to say. There is someone keeping me from you. So they are actually connected to a trauma bond. So this is why they have a lot of judgments about themselves. They're not really living their life. They're too concerned about like being the fixer for everyone else. But understand when a person does that, that's because they don't have a strong sense of self. Destined connection, but they feel for whatever reason that this is a destined connection. The reason why is because normally they cower out. If this is what I'm feeling. They were connected to a trauma bond connection that they don't really want to be with. However, there's a lot of financial stability, I feel. There's a lot of like where they can make appearances, like as if they're together. And they get along, but it's not all passionate. Neither one of these people want to be together, but they've been together for a long time. Your person is too afraid to like leave that 100% behind. But then they also have a lot of feelings for you. So I feel like they're always saying that they're gonna come, there's a sense of procrastination. They feel like this is a destined connection. It's almost like they're waiting for the right time. But it's like they say that they're waiting for the right time, but a lot of it has to do with having to deal with the karmic mate, is what I'm feeling. Because the karmic mate is deliberately throwing loopholes in your person's way, and really nothing's holding your person except for their guilt and the fact that they almost put you on a pedestal. They think that they don't know who you are. They haven't taken the time to get to know you. And there's all these feelings, and so they also feel, like I said, that it's a destined connection. I'm also feeling like their karmic mate is so jealous. I'm afraid of losing you. So this is why they keep saying, I'm going to come. And what I'm feeling is their anxiety is going to get to the point where they're not going to like really have a choice. They don't know when they're going to come, because when they think about it, they think about all the people that they're going to piss off, because again, breaking away from this karmic mate. And that might not even be, it's probably more perceived in this person's head, but they know that they're leaving. But the fear of losing you is going to become so much stronger, to the point that this person doesn't care, like they're just going to leave. The thing is, you have to watch how they leave, because they're not in a high vibration. And that's really what we're looking into. So even though, yes, we want to see what your person is going to do, and there's a part of us that wants to, it's like, yay, they're going to, come back, and they're nervous, and they know that this is a spiritual connection, because normally they don't. And I believe that this is scaring the shit out of the karmic mate, because even though they don't want to be with the person, they don't want their lifestyle interrupted. They don't want the dynamic of how everything appears to change. So they don't want that situation to go, and that's why they keep, again, putting obstacles in your person's way. So maybe again, your person has a business, or they have children, or there's something that is keeping them connected. Once they leave, it changes a lot of people's way of life, and they're actually feeling responsible. They don't want to feel responsible. So you have to say, what is taking this person so long? And what don't they want to live their life? They do want to live their life, but they also know that once they change, it's going to, like, again, feel bad, which is explains again why they are so like obsessed about themselves right now. So if you're not feeling them, this is the reason why. So you are in the back of their mind, and possibly what's giving them the push to actually leave, because they know that you would never date them. I pulled away because I am overwhelmed with all the things going on in my life. And so we know that like I said, they're trying to make changes, but in that it's changing a lot of other people's lives. And the karmic is terrified, because normally they're used to, being able to like manipulate the situation. And what they see is the situation is not being manipulated. So your person clearly does not want to be with them. Can we start over? So that's their intention. Do they know when they're coming? No. That's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling like they don't know when they're coming, but they're dealing with a lot of situations from, like, mainly other people. Now, how are you supposed to deal with it, and what is it triggering to you? And because again, now we get into the healing part of the reading, because when you're dealing with somebody and they can't be there for you, or this person never took the time to get to know you, they also again come across as very stuck in them in themselves, them, obsessed about themselves. And now whether it's for healing or whether it's because they're stuck up, either way, they're not giving you attention. They're not really balanced. So dealing with that person, we want to know like what the triggers would be, because if you want to pursue a relationship with this type of person that needs healing, because they were connected to other people that benefited from them, and they got more out of doing for them than actually embracing their own life, it means that they don't have enough of a life. So they're imbalanced. And there is strong feelings, but we don't want this person to go back into the next relationship and act the same exact way. And we know that they will. That's the problem. When you're dealing with a karmic mate that hasn't treated you well, and they didn't treat you well because they couldn't get close. And so we want to know, like, again, how that would be triggering for you in order to heal it. So we look at the shadows. We go to the shadows. We go to the inner child wounds, which actually, let me get the inner child cards, and then let me take the two different shadows to actually see. The inner child wounds are just, again, created from our childhood, created from those younger years, and they usually have a theme. And that theme could be abandonment, it could be like victimized, it could be betrayal, it could be joy, it could be happiness, it could be anything, really. It's whatever is imprinted. So let's see. Rage. So now we say we can understand you're connected to somebody and they weren't capable of being here for you. So it created a lot of, like I said, negative emotions. It triggered you, and it triggered you with rage because you saw it as that they weren't respecting you, is what I'm feeling. And why is this important? Well, because again, we see anger again here on the top card, and then obsessive compulsive behavior. So as we saw again in the beginning, it was obsession. So some obsessive compulsive is more of that behaviorism. So it could trigger you into being angry, where you're angry all the time because there was rage there to begin with. The inner child, there was rage from not getting emotionally what you needed. And so, and why? Because again, if someone is obsessive compulsive, they tend to get caught up in their own little world and not really be present. So that could also be you grew up with somebody that was very controlling and now and does things their way and didn't emotionally give to you. And now here it is, you wind up in the same exact type of relationship. And that where it's again the same type of karmic themes, which is again, so we have to integrate the shadow, and the shadow here is rage and is anger, and then also it could also be obsessive compulsive behavior, like trigger you into like cleaning a lot, into like fixing a lot, fidgeting a lot, which is a form of escapism. It's a way, it's an addictive behavior, believe it or not. So but it's a lot of times when we get triggered, it's because we're trying to change something that we can't change. So we don't feel good on the inside. So we're trying to like make everything perfect on the outside. So that's how we like what the behaviorism is what I'm trying to get at. So the shadow is anger and it's rage, but understand that anger and rage was there before this person came into your life. This person activates those energies that are created from the shadow, and the shadow here is what we see is really obsessive compulsive behavior. This is really the behaviorism. Okay, and then no foresight. You don't consider the effects of your actions. So again, if we're really angry, right, and we feel as if we're like have compulsive, like obsessive compulsive behavior, there's a feeling like we can't help ourselves. So we can see how this could create really a toxic type of energy if you're not careful. So I would definitely classify this relationship as a karmic, but all soul connections are karmic because karma just needs learn. So, but we can see being connected to someone that's so caught up about themselves, they're never paying attention to us. They really need to do healing before they get into a relationship with you. Or if you're like, I really want to be in a relationship with this person, you really need to be the strong one. Because what this is saying is like, you wouldn't be. And it says that because this person would continue to trigger you. And it's because they don't know how to like really fix it. And they're not strong within inside themselves. And so they, remember, were very easily manipulated by the people that were in their environment. And it made them miserable. So they wind up going back into relationships where they kind of get with someone that needs to tell them what to do, how to do it. And then they don't like that. And so it creates like the same thing. So like I said, you would want to control this person unconsciously. You would want to control this person because you wouldn't trust them. And so, like I said, in that you wouldn't want to say anything all the time because you know it would create like a lot of anger and create it wouldn't be bad. So you'd find yourself biting your tongue a lot. And in that, when we can't express ourselves and when we are not feeling safe, the behavior is what comes out. That was the top of the box. 2 cards. Okay, so let's just look and see what their shadow is. It's important to look to know what their shadow is, because we know what their hidden truths are. The hidden truth is that this person has a lot of feelings for you. They want it to work out. However, they're wounded, and you can tell by their life. We want to know, again, if you're going to pursue this type of relationship, how would you navigate this relationship? And really, like I said, it would be best that this person was not in a relationship until they healed themselves, because they're always looking for somebody else to be the strong one. And what we want today is not what we want tomorrow. The relationship really needs to be balanced, where both people are putting in equal amounts of effort. This person's too afraid to do that without permission. That's how they lived, and you would do it, but then, like I said, they would only wind up hating their life. So again, when filled with regret, it's like, again, like it's almost like no matter what choice that they make, they never like it, and really you would feel regret, and they would feel regret too, because they have feelings for you and they want it, but they know that they're not really ready for this relationship. They're just not. And so that's tough. The child I was meant to be. So again, this person has a lot of childhood wounds that they have not healed. There's a lot of dreams that they have never even ventured into. They've had a lot of dreams that they just never invested in themselves to. And so they don't even know who they would be. And that's what I was saying. This person needs to do healing, because they have feelings for you, but it's like they're going to go from one connection to another connection, is what I see. And they would recreate the same experience. And that's what they know. They know that because they know that they're in the main equation in all their relationships. So what does the universe tell us to do? Because, like I said, I think that should find your balance in every single situation. But if a person's not balanced, your balance, which could be very balanced, they're not going to like, because they need someone to overcompensate, overdo. Remember, they just came from somebody that did all that. They stayed because it was kind of comfortable. But that's if they never invested in themselves, because they weren't able to be like childlike, right? The child that I was meant to be, it was never did that. I don't really know who I am. I don't really know what I like. But this works. There's money here. So it's more what it looks like than actually what it is. And that's what scares the shit out of this person, because they're like, I have feelings for you. And I think it scares the shit out of the karmic, because they're like, this worked for the longest time and I don't want to change things. It's like, this actually works for me. It's like, which is very selfish, because it says that both parties have relationships out on the side when they get bored with each other. And there's a lot of hate and anger that's held together, like that's holding that together. Money is holding it together, but the other emotions surrounding it is not love. It's like bound through anger, because it was at one time a couple that it didn't go well. It fell out of love. So the foundation was never strong. You can live in a marriage or in a connection with it like that. It's codependency, but then, in order to create balance, they have to get it from outside sources. And the karmic is okay with this, is what this looks like to me, where your person is not anymore. So they're going through a spiritual awakening. I think that they never could tell the difference, believe it or not, between, we say, why? Well, if, birds of a feather flock together. If you're a superficial person and you're never really getting to know anyone, you have to, it's not just anyone that's going to be with a person that, has a life somewhere else, So this person was able to live their life like this for a long time until they actually fell in love. And I feel like this person didn't expect it. One step at a time. So the universe, we ask the universe, how are we supposed to deal with this connection if we have feelings for them? If we want to say, now this is a general message, so some of you will, some of you won't. But if it's a real past life connection, a lot of times we can't control ourselves. If this is like a twin flame, we can't control ourselves. It's not an easy relationship. It forces us to step into our true self. And that's what I see here, a connection that's forcing someone to change the whole dynamic of their existence, which is terrifying for them. And so I can understand why it's triggering you, because you're like, well, you're not telling me anything, but this person is judging everything about themselves. They didn't really want the connection that they had to fall apart and end the way that it did, but it is. And they also don't want to ruin anyone's life. But they know that once they change it, it's going to change the dynamic of everything. And that they can't help that. So they're guilt ridden, they feel bad, they don't know who they are. So the answer here is one step at a time. I see the mountain ahead and dedicate myself to taking one small step at a time. I make progress by staying focused on the present moment, the current task. Thus, I regain my ease of living. So I believe that this is actually also for your person. They need to take it one step at a time. And for you too, because if you're going to focus on the past and what this person should have did, how they should have acted, why they should have acted, it's not going to work, especially because they feel bad about themselves, right? And we can't, we're not going backwards. All you have is the moment. Only in the now do you get divine guidance. So we focus on the moment, and we focus on where we want to go in order to heal this, to create balance in it. Now, notice it didn't say abandon yourself, give to this person, but you can find your balance where you're a friend to this person and this person comes to you. I'm going to see what you're going to say. Now, like I said, it's a general message. So, I mean, the answers are going to be a lot different for a lot of different people. But like I said, if this person makes you angry all the time and they're taking a long time to come back, because clearly that there's a process here of them breaking away and changing their life, are you going to want to deal with them? Well, let's see. It's too scary to admit that I'm in love with you. I've never felt love this deeply before. Do you feel the same way? So I believe that you do have feelings for this person. And I also believe that there's a lot of mirroring going on right now between you and this person. Not that you're living, I don't believe that you have to answer to people in your life. However, I believe that it's scary to feel the depth of the connection, because this is calling you to trust. And right now you're like, okay, but how can I trust with this situation because of everything that they did do? And really, Spirit says, well, they had a past and it wasn't the right time. And it doesn't really look as if they ever really took the time to get to know you. And so you saw that this whole time. So they're even though that they didn't say anything, they said a lot of different mixed messages. It was because they had feelings, but they couldn't give anything. So this is really the best that it could do. It's more or less about teaching you about patience, teaching you about being in the moment, taking the relationship one day at a time, learning forgiveness, being compassionate, giving a person grace because they're already down, right? So it's like they already feel like shit about themselves. But if you love this person, it's not about, well, you should have treated me this way. It's about teaching, and teaching through love and compassion. And that's because that's inevitably going to be the foundation of the relationship that you create with this person. So, I mean, you can have that. But like I said, if you handle it where it's, you know, if you're like so scared and then you're looking for them to like create problems and you're not in the moment and you're judging, you know, this person doesn't know. And if you're not directing your life, meaning don't abandon yourself, continue to live your life, you'll be able to set the appropriate boundaries, which will also be the mirror, which is what I said earlier, that you are going to be the strong person in this relationship. And you might be like, well, I don't want to play that part. Well, then this is not the person to be with, because on an emotional level, they're not where you are. Now, they could be where you are or even exceed where you are within business. Usually, if it's a soulmate, they have gifts too. It's that you're going to help them in one area, they're going to help you in another area. That's why it's a soulmate. They're teaching you, coming and teaching you. And not all the time does it have to be negatively. It's negatively if you allow this person to dictate, which is what they tried to do, but you didn't do it in the beginning. And so now that's what made them realize that they actually have feelings. So which says that this relationship can balance itself out because you would set boundaries, and eventually the relationship, how we enter into a relationship is not who we are the entire time in the relationship. And that means we get more confident. Maybe in the beginning, I don't fart, I don't let the person see me without makeup, I don't, you know, there's a lot of people do a lot of crazy things. But then as the relationship goes on, they get more and more comfortable. I mean, the funny meme on Facebook is like when you see like the guy has a baseball cap and there's a wig next to it. And it's like when you get really comfortable in your relationship, it's like you're not caring about every little thing. And you're able to like find your groove. Well, instead, just entering into the relationship where you're balanced to begin with, and you're teaching the person about how to have a balanced life by you truly being balanced. And that's by being very interactive in your own life and staying, you know, committed to hanging out with your friends and like I said, and giving this person the appropriate time. But relationships are something that happen over time and we have to process. But if you're right there every single day and that's all that you're doing because I'm so crazy in love with this person, which is how this person's relationships tend to start, and then they go straight into the toilet where there's bound together through anger and resentment, which is what this person is like, this, I'm not ready to go back into this relationship. That's how they view relationships. They think I need to come in this way and I'm going to do that. They got to see that they're not going to be the one that does that. And they'll do it because they already love you and want to be with you. And that is how love is healing, right? It's the universal panacea that makes us do what we wouldn't do. It's that magic pill. The unconditional love always wins. And so that's why we get our soulmates, and we have the power to balance out these relationships just by understanding what the person's triggers are and why their behaviorisms are what they are. Now, like I said, it's not about losing yourself in that person, but it's about losing yourself into your own healing and letting that person be the actual like trigger, the catalyst for your healing, because without that person coming into your life, you wouldn't have been aware as much. Again, the triggers, or you might not have been at all, right? Because triggers tend to be subconscious. That's why trigger brings it out into the open, makes us look at it so that we can heal it. And we can do so because we have unconditional love for the person that actually triggered us. where we want to be mad because they make us so mad, but at the end of the day, we can't stay mad because that person represents a part of you and a part of spirit and a part of God and a part of like the universal energy that we can't manipulate. It just is. And again, that's when we can surrender completely. That person makes us surrender completely. And through, again, surrendering our ego of how it needs to be, how it should have been, how it, like, this person did this, did that, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you wind up being, after all the anger is cleared, all the emotion is cleared, you still love that person. It brings you back to the energy of unconditional love. So it is a divine connection, but it is a karmic connection. I'm going to leave that there. If you resonated with this, Scorpio, give me a like, comment the word again in your comment bar. And we know that the word again was self-obsession. And we'll see if I chose you, and I'll see you all again real soon. Bye-bye.